Короче, ребятки, посмотреть фильм сейчас про STARCRAFT, про Идру. Не кореец называется. Так, сейчас здесь остановочку сделаем. И погнали.
The GSL is the global StarCraft 2 league. These are the top of the top of the top, the best players in the world always. It's open to anyone, but it's normally completely Koreans. In fact, GSL goes out of its way to try to help foreign players come over. But who else can actually do this? Well, I think if anyone else could, they wouldn't. You'll hear people say, the Koreans and the foreigners. That is something the Koreans have dubbed us. We're seen as the foreigners because the Koreans have always had the best players. If you go to any tournament in the world that Koreans are playing in, they will win.
I call it a triangle, right? We have the leagues, you've got the teams, you've got all the media that covers those two things like sports, and then right in the middle you have the fans, right? That was always the smallest thing. We were building the outside of the triangle and hoping that people came and cared and bought shirts and bought mouse pads and paid spectator fees. They're here now.
It's gonna get these signed.
I've not seen a game like this for the last 10, 12 years where it's appealed to non-gamers and gamers that don't actually play the game, like myself. I love watching StarCraft.
The reason StarCraft captures so many people and fascinates them is not because of the flashy graphics. There's prettier games out there. It's not because of the storyline. It's quite stupid. It's the impossibility of being perfect in this game. Nobody thinks they could be perfect in this game. If you're the best StarCraft player, you have unanimous respect from all other gamers, and that's something that everyone wants.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Major League Gaming Pro Circuit. We are live from Columbus, Ohio.
Today we're going to watch over 256 of the best players duke it out.
North America, Europe, Korea.
There is more than just money on the line.
MLG Columbus was the first event here in North America where the Koreans kind of came in mass.
My name is Won. I need Slash MMA. My name is Jang. My name is Dango. ID Roshira.
My name is Mincher Zhang. My nickname is OJSMC.
We have like 4 or 5 Koreans here. I think it's like 50-50. It's a 50% chance Koreans are gonna win, which makes them the huge favorites.
I could have competed here if I wanted to. They had a player slot reserved for me, but there's just no way that I could win feasibly.
It would just be good if a foreigner could actually win against the Koreans, because it shows that we're at least somewhere near the same level they are.
Today we're getting right down into the business.
We're going to be going into OTS MC versus EG's Idra.
Our player, Greg, he's often been considered the best foreigner outside of Korea. He has a very intense rivalry with his Korean brethren. He used to live there, he used to train there.
His history is interesting in the sense that right out of high school he went to Korea. He played on a team for STARCRAFT boudoir, like 12 hours a day training in this house with these kids that can't even speak the language to him, and he never got on TV. And I could say that that's probably largely a disappointment to him and to a lot of his fans. That's not to say he wasn't good. He was still the best non-Korean player through those 2 years. But in Korea, he wasn't one of the best players at all. He wasn't even close.
약간의 한국 선수들과의 마찰 때문에 배드맨으로 해외에서도 소문났었는데 아이드라 선수가 본인의 분노를, 레이즈를 참지 못하고 막 표출하는 이런 것 때문에.
Let's see who's ready to begin the incredibly long, arduous path to the finals. Man, this is some Sam and Frodo journey level difficult, and it looks like we're going to see MC and Idra starting game 1 on Metalopolis when?
Now.
Now. Sprinting forward, an insane, aggressive game, but Idra appears to be coming up on top, and there's the good game.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That was just a quick decision by Idra, and very, very well played.
I know Idra just knocked
knockout MC, which was a big surprise to everybody.
MC's shown that he can lose. He's not invincible. And that's big.
I'm throwing all my money on Greg, dude. He's in shape. He's just 2-0'd MC. He's my boy. I'd love to see him win.
Idra is a championship class player, and what that means is that he's not only a really good player, he has the swagger and just the ability to win major tournaments. He's done it time and time again. He's a threat.
People outside of Korea are kind of sticking together and want to beat Koreans because they've always been dominating in esports and StarCraft and Warcraft.
They've got some ground to make up here, but this is going to be a really fierce competition these next couple of days.
The playing field is just even now. I don't put Koreans on any higher scale, so I don't think that they're going to dominate.
My tournament's been really horrible so far. Nothing went my way.
I'm suffering from carpal tunnel syndrome, and I have a little bit of pain in my wrist right now.
There's no excuses. We're all tired.
Look at the stars. Tower blocks and cars.
Just like anybody watching sports gets stressed out if their team doesn't win or if this guy loses. It's like,
No excuses. We're all tired.
А девочку...
just like anybody watching sports gets stressed out if their team doesn't win or if this.
А девочки инконтрола были, между прочим. Инконтрол-то с девочками дружил.
When Greg wins, he tends to not show that he's really happy, but he is pleased with the result.
We're trying to get Idra to smile.
Oh, look, smile.
Oh, he's smiling right now.
If he doesn't respect you, he'll say you're terrible.
I'm playing really bad, but it's more than enough to beat him.
If he doesn't like you, he won't shake your hand. If you give him the throat cut, he'll give you the finger. Those are things that are not acceptable in Korea. If you do that, you are going to be outcast. There was this kind of general agreement amongst many of the pro gamers to not practice with Idra. They wanted to get him kicked out of GSL.
They cheer against him, like they would like to see him lose. They would actually like him to come back to Korea and compete and then lose, and then they can like cheer and be happy about that. But it's not like if you walk through the streets of Korea, they're gonna like spit on him or something.
Last thing in the world I want is for somebody to be indifferent about Idra. You want to tune in to see if he's going to implode. You want to tune in to see if he's going to come back and play an amazing mid and late game. Not because he's occasionally says the wrong thing. We all make mistakes like that. It's whether or not he learns from it and becomes the player that he can be, which I think he's starting to do.
We've officially broken every record we've ever held for live stream audience. So thank you very much.
gentlemen. Make some noise. It is going to be a big one here as we have Slayers MMA taking on Idra, one of the few North American players that still stands here in the championship bracket.
There's a lot of tension going on between the Korean players and Idra because of that epic moment that happened yesterday when OGS MC stepped out of the booth.
He beat someone and you were sitting in the front row and he came up to you and he pointed at you and he did the throat slash motion. Now, usually that means that he wants to physically hurt you. Do you think you could beat him in a fight?
It's kind of chubby, so yeah, probably.
Get on your feet, guys. Make some noise here. We have Greg Idra Fields. Greg, go ahead and come up on stage. As Greg's going to be playing a very, very important match. You're going to be going up against MMA. How do you think this match is going to go?
I'm confident. He's definitely a great player. It won't be easy, but I feel good about it.
All right, one more time. Make some noise. Go ahead, get into your booth and get set up. Next up, we've got MMA. The question for you is, are you at all nervous going up against Idra?
매우 흥분되고요. 그리고 2대0으로 꼭 이길 수 있도록 하겠습니다. I'll make sure that I win 2-0.
MMA style tends to be hyper-aggressive. But will it be capable of taking out the very solid defensive, the very watchful eye of Idra?
I really think that this matchup is going to be something special.
Rolling in, look at the Mutalist count. Banelings getting absolutely obliterated by these tanks, but the Mutalist count is just too high. Idra now streaming forward with Zerglings, Mutas, everything is overrunning MMA. I think Idra may have left the game that he had won.
Absolutely had that game won.
I mean, I'm speechless.
This is what it feels like to be shell-shocked. There's just a collective WTF amongst many of the people here at the auditorium, watching online, obviously right up here.
Idra left. He just left the game. He still had a huge army. He was still completely in it and probably going to win. It was a heartbreaking moment for any Idra fan or any Idra friend.
Marcus, what was going on? Guaranteed a point in the final. We'll see them in the fourth game. Try to make their way through in the lower bracket. See a rematch.
Hey, who the fuck was that guy?
That's our It was our producer for the TV show. Just asked him to comment on game 1. He clipped him off.
No, did you hear what he said to him?
He said you want to comment on game 1, right?
He said what happened game 1.
I think both parties were a little wrong there, so.
Had this guy been formally introduced to Greg? Do you know who he was?
He's been on the technology for 2 years.
Has Greg been here for 2 years? But it's still relevant.
I don't know, Scott.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. The guy was flipping off everybody. I don't know.
Twice. Your guy is out.
That's a tech. It's a tech. So, I mean, I'm just telling you that we're not both forcing.
I know, but you have all these people walking up to Greg. If he doesn't know who Greg is.
He had a can.
Emotions are high, and I think that's something people aren't necessarily used to. They look at us as just kind of we're playing a game, it's just all for fun. But I mean, that's his livelihood, that's him bearing his soul to, there's 100,000 people on the stream. Think about a stadium packed with 100,000 people, put 2 computers down in the middle, that's what's going on. I'm the guy that knows him behind the scenes, I know how much the pressure mounts.
The mental aspect of my game has never been my strongest feature. It's probably been the weakest for quite a bit of my career. Even back in StarCraft 1 when I was winning everything amongst foreigners, and early on in StarCraft 2 when I was having a lot of success in general. It's always been on the back of my mechanics and strategy, tactics, all that. It's never been because I'm a fierce competitor or I have the really good competitive mindset.
Every player has different buttons and different things that motivate them, different things that upset them, different things that tilt them. We've realized that a guy like Greg definitely treats it like a sport, definitely is at the top of the sport, but when you get to the exact same level, it's not your build order, it's not, how you played the game, it's maybe how you stepped into the booth.
Блин, ну очень круто, конечно, очень круто, реально. Как сказать? Просто там вот этот ролик, когда он кидает ключи, просто богатеи так не делают, как Гидра делает. Типа он настолько, дерзкий парень. Но при всем при этом он, контролирует себя. В России-то уже, просто это среда STARCRAFT, среда задротства. В России, мне кажется, уже подрались. Давно. Ну как он ключи кидает? Просто это такой трэш. Ключи кого-нибудь в лицо просто. Точнее никому. Там одно видео есть. Давайте сейчас его тоже посмотрим. На прощание. Так. Просто Идра — это сама дерзость. По-другому не скажешь. Ну и он, причем он сам про себя-то адекватно говорит. Так, это не то видео. Почти вот. I don't give a fuck. А вот сейчас. вот это же пиздец. Я просто не могу. Я вчера просто пересматривал это. И сегодня я крутил это. Просто посмотрите на это. Вот что выходит. Типа в фильмах такого, блядь, не увидишь, что он вытворяет. Просто приехал и посмотрите. Вот сейчас кидает ключи в чела, забирает у него кофе. Это типа фанат. Ну, короче. Просто кинул ключи, забрал. Нет, даже если это постанова, ну, в любом случае это выглядит супер жестко. Даже если это постанова. Ну, прикол, короче. Жесть. Нифига, смотрите, самолет влетел в эти. Ладно, все, ребята, я пока вырублю стрим, сейчас дальше посмотрим. Перезапущусь, если что. Падение антигероя. На русском, видите, тоже снимают видео всякие. Ну, Идра это легенда, конечно. Ну, типа, просто никто не вел себя так жестко, как он себя вел. Ладно, все, всем удачи, bye-bye, everybody.